This conference will now be recorded.
Cool.
All right. Well, so Whitney, I know you and I, we messaged a little bit back and forth earlier today
Yep.
to talk about what you wanted to focus on. And of the kind of the things that we messaged about, what kept like muscle testing the weakest was um, uh, sugar addiction and just motivation, kind of just period.
That
Has anything else come up, or um, do you feel like anything else is just kind of or bubbled up? I guess I should even say, because I know we already, we talked and I told you that even just kind of focusing on this and being open to change it is going to start moving things.
yeah. No, I even pulled out a workout book that I've had for a while that I never managed to get through. So that's like, I think part of the focus. I'm hoping to finally get past this like mental block motivation. And I know the sugar addiction has a lot to do with it, and I'm trying not to assume what might be the cause, but I know like my family background, we used food a lot as a reward. And I know there's probably some emotional ties to that. So that's my guess. But yeah.
Okay.
This could get hairy.
Don't worry, with EPT, that is our specialty. We're good at hair. And it's one of the things that I like so much about EPT and really appreciate about it is because compared to I don't know I don't think we've really talked very much, but my background prior to EPT was just like talk therapy.
Oh, okay.
And EPT is such a safer and more efficient and effective way of getting into those hairy places without having to worry about like, oh, am I going to go to the wrong place or something, potentially harmful going to happen. So
Yeah.
that's really good. So if you were to like have like a focus statement of like what your desired outcome would be, what would you say that it is?
I no longer want sugar and desserts to be like my go-to for when I need to feel like happy
Mm-hmm.
something. Like I don't want a reward relationship with sugar because it really is the sweet stuff that I lean towards the most and that I think is what causes all my hangups is that, I just have one of those days where I'm like, I really want a donut and it's right on the way to work. And that makes me feel good about going into work because I don't want to go to work today. So, I think that's a really long way of saying that. I don't know if you could summarize that, but I think that would be my goal.
Well, I guess if we were to like take some of what you just shared and like state it as a positive desired outcome, would it be, because I don't want to put words in your mouth, so change this any way that you want to. But um, I can just easily and effortlessly have a healthy relationship with food. And this is just what's coming to mind is and a healthy relationship with myself. Is that
Yeah.
out in the weeds or
That's, yeah. Yeah. Healthy relationship with myself when it comes to food. Because I don't want to go to that place where I like hate food.
right?
I do food. I just like a lot of the bad stuff.
All right. Well, and let's see here. I know you said that you didn't have your magnets, so if you would, I've got mine with me.
Oh,
So if you would, we'll just go ahead and just establish for 4.
okay.
So put your hands on your head there, and we're going to do 3 deep breaths in, and you're just going to kind of gently squeeze in and up. So deep breath in, and out, and 2 more. Okay, and if you would, just put one hand on or one finger on the bridge of your nose, and other kind of on the base of your skull there, right where it kind of curves in into your neck. And then we're going to do 3 more. Deep breath in. And 1 more. All right. Awesome job. Um, so if you would, just go ahead and think about that statement of I can easily and effortlessly have a healthy relationship with myself when it comes to food. Sweet. Stress is only testing at a 6, which is higher than we want it to be, but it's not like off the charts. So that's good.
Was that distress level?
Yeah. And elation. And elation is only testing at a 2. So we definitely want to move that up. And as far as stage of healing, cool. Which is, and I mean, you've been through the training, so but that's, the stage that we typically just kind of get stuck in where we feel like it's like a depression. We're like, well, this is just how it's always going to be. I just better suck it up and get used to it.
Yep, I'd say that's where I'm at.
And that makes a lot of sense too, because especially if that was a pattern in your family and like that's what was modeled for you from an early age, it's really natural to get stuck in that stage of like, well, this is the way it was for everybody that I grew up with, so why should I be any different? What makes me special? But the good news is that you are special, and we're going to fix this today.
Cool.
So as far as organ, so I'm just curious. I don't know anything about your background except for that you've been through EPT training and you're, married to Rob.
Now, technically, I haven't been through training. I'm like the groupie. I know a lot about it, and I hang out with all the practitioners, but I haven't actually trained myself.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. So I know even less about you than I thought. So we're on target. Um, so what is your mother? Is she still still alive, still with you?
Yes, my parents are still alive, and all of my grandmothers are still alive. I have 4. And I have 2 grandfathers still alive.
Okay. Because
That's
as
right.
far as the organ and emotion and everything that I'm testing kind of right now on the current picture, um, as far as whether it's a who or a what, it tested as who. tested his mom, and then organ-wise it was kidney, and the emotion was fear. Is there any like fear that you're feeling for or about your mom right now? And it tested as your emotion. It's not like you're carrying it for her.
Oh, okay. So I have fear in relation to my mom.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
my fear.
that's interesting. It could be, um, I mean, I sometimes worry about her health
Mhm.
because she also struggles with weight, struggles with a lot of anxiety, worries a lot, and with grandparents getting older, um, you know, that's weighing on my parents pretty heavily. My grandmother had a fall recently and she's pretty frail, and her mother got diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago. And she actually hasn't lost a parent yet, so that could be something. And then also I think there might be like a, maybe it's one way I feel connected to my mom because we both like food and sweet things, and she always gifts me in that way, and it's always fun. And like we like to go to Starbucks or something like that. So
Yeah. Has your mom? I know you said she struggles with weight. Has she had any like health problems, like directly related to weight, like hypertension or type 2 diabetes, or?
high blood pressure, I think. I'm not very good with the health stuff.
Okay.
I don't think her foot thing is related to weight gain necessarily, but she does have a foot that got a bunion. The surgery, she got surgery where she got a pin put in it, and then that pin actually broke, so it's like not fixed, but she deals with it.
Okay. My fear and to mom. Yeah.
That was a lot at once. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Would you say, like, would it be accurate to say, like, we were completing a statement? Like, I feel my fear um, related to my mom because I connect with her, like you said, through food. Um, and I guess what keeps coming into my mind, and you tell me if this is accurate or not, is that like that connection could hurt us both. Like, I don't want to lose my connection with my mom, but I'm afraid that if we keep connecting in that way, it's not going to be healthy for either one of us. Is that?
That, or would fear and guilt be connected?
I mean, they can be.
Because I think sometimes I struggle with like, or maybe that could be like if I get past it, or if I don't want to have the things that she gives me as a gift out of love, and knowing that I like those things, like Starbucks or a pound cake or something, like that's going to affect our relationship.
Oh yeah.
I think that's more of the fear.
Hmm.
Um, and there's probably some of that about it adversely affecting health as well, but I think it has more to do with um, affecting my relationship with my mom because I don't have a strong one, I guess, in my mind. So, the few ways that I know how to connect with my mom, one of them being we really like the sweet stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know, you might test this, but maybe that's because I see how she reacts to her sister, because of the family, my aunt has done the best job at eating better and taking better care of herself. So, she eats differently, I guess, than you would say from the rest of the family. And I think I sense that my mom like is frustrated by that. So maybe that's it. Maybe I fear that I'm going to be treated like my aunt.
Yeah.
That resonates.
Yeah, and actually, like the feeling guilty about not accepting the food gifts, like, 'cause, I mean, because nobody wants to, like, somebody's giving you the gift. Nobody, typically most people don't want to be like, oh well, no, thanks, like, because from where they're coming from, it's a gesture of love,
Right.
and especially like you said, if there's not a whole lot of ways that you're connecting with your mom, you definitely it's natural to not want to shut one of those down
Yeah.
and get even more of it. Yeah. And like I said, your aunt is sort of, I guess, viewed as like a just as just different, or
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely we still love her, but I think, I think it's just like how they do their own thing, and we don't approve of it, and so it's just kind of there's a strain there, but I don't know how to explain it. I'm just really good at picking up on it.
yeah. Well, and that's. I mean, sometimes there's just things that we pick up on, like whether it's just emotional or just sort of in the energy that is there in a relationship um, that we it's hard to put into words, but we just like you said, we know it's there. Like
Yeah.
there's something just that's just different. Um, is it okay to get your aunt's first name?
Yeah, it's Audra. Shoot, she changed it like by one letter. Let's just go with Audrey.
Okay. Let's see, this the original on this? Yes. But when I'm looking down and everything, I'm not trying to like not be with you. I'm just making
Oh no,
notes. It's,
it's fine.
so it is testing that there was an original pattern, like an original time where you felt like um, something similar to this, um, and it's still testing as kidney fear and that it's yours at around age 14.
I know exactly what it is.
Oh, okay.
I had a feeling it would come up.
So what was going on with fear that you feel like could have set this up or set up this pattern when you were 14?
This might be a little hard to say, but um, when I was 14, I was diagnosed with endometriosis. Um, my mom took me to the doctor, and that doctor experience was actually very traumatic for me, and I didn't realize it for a long time, because the doctor did not explain the procedure that he was about to do to check me for endometriosis.
Mm-hmm.
And so it made me cry because one, it hurt, and two, it was an examination where I'd been touched in places I'd never been touched before. And that because I didn't understand what was going on. That was very traumatic for me. So I started crying, and the doctor's like, "Is this because someone had raped you?" And I'm like, "No, that's never happened. It just hurt." And so my mom was there. This was like not like she wasn't like out of the room or anything. It was, for all intents and purposes, by procedure, except for the fact that the doctor did not, um, explain things.
Yeah.
So after that, my mom could tell I was upset, and so she sent me. I was 14. Somehow I got Steak and Shake for or afterwards for lunch. I think she took me there before going home or going back to school. I can't remember much after that, other than just that she knew I was upset, and so we went to my favorite place, which was Steak and Shake at the time. So, yeah, that moment has affected a lot of my life, but I didn't. I guess that might come up for the block for weight loss, but yeah.
Like, well, just first of all, I just want to tell you that I really, really just admire your courage, um, being able to talk about that, for choosing to talk about that, um, because, well, for one, like, again, we don't know each other, and um, there's just sort of like this technological barrier right now that that separates us physically, but it's, I don't know. I just really commend you for having the courage to share that,
Thanks.
because you didn't have to. You could have just been like, nope, nothing at 14, try again. Um, and, and also, I mean, I'm not a physician um, at all, but again, I imagine from what you shared that a procedure like that is really invasive, and to not have anything explained, that I can definitely see why that would have been just really frightening and upsetting. And even though it was by procedure, quote unquote by the book, um, I mean, it just seems like it would be very natural for somebody to feel just like violated, even though this is a professional and they're doing a medical procedure, um, just like boundaries were crossed. Um,
Yeah, it's a long road of recovery on that, because it has affected other areas of my life, and it's gotten easier to talk about it, because I've started to heal from it in some ways. Um, but yeah.
so I just want you to just kind of take a moment and just check in with yourself. And I should have said this at the beginning, and I apologize for waiting until now to say it. Um, if at any point any of this feels too overwhelming or like it's too much, it's absolutely okay for you to say that. Okay.
Okay.
Just want to be clear about that.
Okay.
So just think about that fear that you felt at 14. And okay. So we talked about you not having magnets. Um, so if you would put your kind of the palm of your hand just kind of on your back, like where your kidney would be.
Is that
And
on the left side?
uh,
Or
we're going to do your right kidney.
okay.
And
Anatomy.
then you should put the back of your hand on your forehead. So which I'm really glad you're at home, because I've done this like in my car in a parking lot whenever like somebody was looking at me, and I, like, but it was like my heart, and so I just felt like a dramatic like 14-year-old. Ah! What do you mean it's gonna make a chain out? So, all right. So we're gonna disrupt that pattern of fear, and I just want you to take a deep breath in and out. Another deep breath in and out. One more. And out. Yes. So it's testing that there are other emotions on that picture from when you were 14. It's testing as liver. The emotion is testing as anger. It's not testing as yours. It's testing as your mom's anger. And that when she was, yeah, just, and unless you're thinking of something else, it's just kind of testing as like her just anger at the situation. I don't know if she talked with you about it further about, I don't know if she said anything like that doctor should have explained more or anything like that. I don't know if that happened or not, but it was just, she was just angry that it was happening. It's testing that she was just angry that it was happening for you.
That makes sense. That's comforting to know. But she never talked to me about it. That I remember.
And I don't know, like, I guess kind of like what generation your mom is from necessarily, or how, like how she was raised. But I've known adults before who have shared with me that they were just kind of taught from the time they were young, well, you just trust the professional and trust that they're doing what they're supposed to do, and you don't speak up. You know, you just accept that they know what's going on. So I don't know if that was why she, you know, was her motivation or what, but it is testing that you're holding on to kind of like mom's anger at that whole situation.
I mean, I'm a little angry too, but
If you would go ahead and take your hand and put it on your liver. Are you familiar with where that's at? It's on
that,
the
right there.
yeah, on your right side. I think
Right side. Okay. This side.
Yep.
Okay.
Your other hand on your forehead, and this is to just release that charge of the anger that your mom was feeling. So deep breath. Breathe. One more. And the next thing that's coming up as far as the organ is the gallbladder. And it is testing as resentment, and that that is yours. So, and gallbladder is just like go to where your liver is, and then go just a little bit in towards your center. That's where your gallbladder is. And
Side.
what's that?
On the side.
Yeah. but you want to go more, more towards like kind of like towards your navel, a little bit more forward.
Down here.
Yep. So you're going to want to put the palm of your hand there, and then again the back of your hand on your forehead. And I want you to just think about releasing that resentment. Breath. So we're ready to go through some forgiveness statements.
Okay.
And if you want, you can kind of hold your hands together like this, or I know you've had EPT before, or you can kind of do the fear and release points, whichever you're more. I like doing this, but whatever is more comfortable for you. And I know we haven't talked about this, but as far as like with your spirituality, would you be okay if I just did like a quick kind of said a quick prayer for us before we go through the forgiveness statements?
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you so much. You're so much for Whitney and for the life that you've given her and for all the experiences that she's had that have made her the person that she is today. Even the ones that were not pleasant and that were not desirable, even the ones that were painful. God, we thank you for your ability to redeem those things and redeem those experiences and change them into something beautiful. God, thank you for just the light that is in her heart and that your love is so much greater than any pain, any negativity, any challenges, anything that would try to separate her from you. God, and we thank you for the light that you have shed on everything that you have today. And we thank you that through you we have healing and freedom from those things that would limit us. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
I forgive myself for believing.
Oh, and if, I don't know you know this, but if at any point through this,
Sorry.
if something doesn't feel right to say, or if you want to change it to make it more true for you, then absolutely feel free to do that.
Okay.
So I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that it's just not possible
that it's just not possible
for me to have a healthy relationship with myself and with food.
for me to have a healthy relationship with myself and with food.
Take a deep breath. Forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that for me to have healthy relationships with myself or my family,
for me to have healthy relationships with myself or my family,
that I've still got to have this unhealthy relationship with food.
that I still have to have this unhealthy relationship with food.
Breath. Forgive myself for believing
Forgive myself for believing
that it has to be one or the other.
That it has to be one or the other.
And I give myself permission
And I give myself permission
to begin to accept
to begin to accept
I can have both.
I can have both.
I can love me and I can love food
I can love me and I can love food
in a way that's healthy,
in a way that's healthy.
and I can still receive and give love to my family.
And I can still receive and give love to my family.
Right? Forgive myself for believing
Forgive myself for believing
that I'm doing something wrong
that I'm doing something wrong
if I turn down a, a sweet treat from my mom.
if I turn down a sweet treat from my mom.
Forgive myself for believing
Forgive myself for believing
that if I don't take that gift,
that if I don't take that gift,
then I'm not taking love.
then I'm not taking or receiving her love.
Deep breath. Forgive myself for believing
Forgive myself for believing
that if somebody offers me something,
somebody offers me something,
whether it's food or anything else,
whether it's food or anything else,
and it's not what's best for me,
and it's not what's best for me,
and I turn it down,
and I turn it down,
or if I take it and just give it away,
or if I take it and give it away,
that I'm responsible for how they feel about that.
that I'm responsible for how they feel about that.
Deep breath. I give my mom and all the other people in my life
Forgive my mom and all the other people in my life.
permission to be responsible for their own stuff.
Permission to be responsible for their own stuff.
Because I got mine.
Say that part again.
Because I've got mine.
Because I've got mine.
It's enough.
And that's enough.
Deep breath. Forgive myself for believing
Whoops. Sorry, you cut out there. Say that again.
I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that this pattern in my family
that this pattern in my family
of food meaning comfort
food meaning comfort
and food being a reward
and food being a reward
and food being the way of connection,
and food being the way of connection,
that it always has to be that way.
that it always has to be that way.
And I give love and honor
I give love and honor
and gratitude
and gratitude
to my Aunt Audrey
to my Aunt Audrey
for showing me that you can still be in the family
for showing me that you can still be in the family
and do something different.
and do something different.
Deep breath. I love and accept myself,
I love and accept myself,
whether I eat sweets or whether I don't.
whether I eat sweets or whether I don't.
Either way,
Either way,
I'm still valuable.
I'm still valuable.
I'm still loved.
I'm still loved.
I'm still appreciated.
I'm still appreciated.
And I'm still important.
And I'm still important.
Deep breath. Forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that if I release this fear
that if I release this fear
of my mom's anger
and my mom's anger
and my resentment
and my resentment
from when I was 14,
from when I was 14,
then I will lose that connection that I had with my mom.
then I will lose that connection that I have with my mom
From when I went through that experience
from when I went through that experience.
and I felt confused
And I felt confused
and physical and emotional pain,
and physical and emotional pain.
and I needed somebody to be there for me.
And I need somebody to be there for me.
And my mom was there.
My mom was there.
And she just happened to be there with me.
And what?
She just happened to be there with me.
She just happened to be there with me.
And Steak and Shake was how she tried to make things better.
And Steak and Shake was how she tried to make things better.
Because she couldn't undo what had happened.
Because she couldn't undo what had happened.
And we both felt powerless that day.
We both felt powerless that day.
Breath. I raised my level of acceptance
I raised my level of acceptance
to the truth.
to the truth.
I'm not a 14-year-old girl anymore.
I'm not a 14-year-old girl anymore.
I'm not powerless.
And I'm not powerless.
I've got a voice.
I've got what?
A voice
I've got a voice
and a mind
and a mind
and resources that I didn't have then.
and resources that I didn't have then.
And I can use them all
I can use them all
to take back power in my life
to take back power in my life
and to have more say so
and to have more say so
in what I do and how I live.
in what I do and how I live.
Deep breath. Forgive myself for believing
Forgive myself for believing
that all the pain
that all the pain
and all the shame
and all the shame
and all the embarrassment
and all the embarrassment
that started that day when I was 14,
that started that day when I was 14,
and it's all got to be cleared up before I can live differently.
that it all has to be cleared up before I can live differently.
I can love and accept myself.
I can love and accept myself.
That I can be a work in progress
That I can be a work in progress
and still kick butt along the way.
and still what?
And still kick butt along the way.
And still kick butt along the way.
Deep breath. Forgive my mom
I forgive my mom
for not speaking up,
for not speaking up,
for not finding her voice,
for not finding her voice,
and making that doctor do something different.
and making that doctor do something different.
Breath. I love and accept my mom
I love and accept my mom
for trying to make things better
for trying to make things better
the only way that she knew how.
the only way she knew how.
And I love and accept her,
And I love and accept,
knowing that if she had known a better way,
Knowing that if she had known a better way,
then she would have done it a different way.
then she would have done it a different way.
A deep breath. And I give myself permission
I give myself permission
to forgive that doctor
to forgive that doctor
for being checked out.
for being checked out,
For not thinking about my feelings
for not thinking about my feelings,
and just going through the motions.
and just going through the motions.
Because he was a doctor following a procedure.
Because he was a doctor following a procedure.
He didn't realize that I was a 14-year-old girl
He didn't realize that I was a 14-year-old girl
with feelings,
with feelings,
physically and emotionally,
physically and emotionally,
and that I needed help knowing what was going on.
and that I needed help knowing what was going on.
Right. I give my mom permission to forgive me
I give my mom permission to forgive me
for all the times that I've wanted to speak up and haven't.
for all the times that I've wanted to speak up and I haven't.
Because I've been afraid that it would damage our relationship.
Because I've been afraid it would damage our relationship.
And I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for the times that I haven't been authentic
for the times that I haven't been authentic
and told my truth.
and told my truth.
That sometimes I don't need steak and shake.
But sometimes I don't need steak and shake, although
Or
it sounds really good. What'd you say?
or Starbucks.
Or Starbucks.
I just need my mom,
I just need my mom,
and that's more than enough.
and that's more than enough.
Deep breath. Without these patterns of anger
Without these patterns of anger,
and fear
fear,
and resentment,
and resentment,
I can make so much more room in my life and in my heart
I can make so much more room in my life and in my heart
to feel love
to feel love
for myself,
for myself,
for other people,
for other people,
and even for food.
and even for food.
Deep breath. I am so happy
I am so happy
that from this day forward,
that from this day forward,
I get to live my life
I get to live my life
from the energy of love
from the energy of love
and forgiveness and happiness,
and forgiveness and happiness,
and not be controlled
not be controlled
by what other people might think,
by what other people might think,
other people's judgments,
other people's judgments.
sugar spikes or crashes,
What?
sugar spikes or crashes.
Sugar spikes or crashes.
I can just be moved by love
I can just be moved by love
and God's will for my life.
and God's will for my life.
Breath. Without this fear, anger, and resentment,
Without this fear, anger, and resentment,
I'm free.
I'm free.
I have an even better relationship with my mom.
To have an even better relationship with my mom.
And brand new ways to connect
And brand new ways to connect
that are so much more freeing
that are so much more freeing
and come with no strings attached.
and come with no strings attached.
Deep breath. Without this fear,
Without this fear,
I can be full
I can be full
of faith
of faith
in myself
in myself
and in God
and in God
and in the people who love me.
and in the people who love me.
That their love is not dependent on pound cake.
Their love is not dependent on pound cake.
And mine's not either.
And mine's not either.
Deep breath. I take this fear, this anger, and this resentment.
I take this fear, this anger, and this resentment.
I say yes to it all,
Say yes to it all.
the good, bad, and the ugly.
The good, bad, and the ugly.
And I call it up
I call it up.
and I release it to God's love, mercy, and light.
I release it to God's love and mercy in my life.
And in exchange
And in exchange,
for this, I don't know how to translate that. I don't know how to spell it.
all this junk.
I get to know that I'm efficient.
I get to know that I'm efficient.
Efficient
Okay, efficient. Yep.
and competent.
And competent.
This health thing is not nearly as hard as I've been making it.
This health thing is not nearly as hard as I've been making it.
And with all this crud taken off,
All this crud taken off,
I'm free to do it
I'm free to do it
and do it naturally
and do it naturally
and love myself along the way.
and love myself along the way.
And if I have ice cream, heck yeah, I had some ice cream.
If I had ice cream, heck yes, I had some ice cream. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it.
And if I want to, I can, I just, the words that keep coming to mind are just, you can be free.
If I want to, I don't need to, and I can be free of that.
Deep breath. Are there any other, because sometimes as we're going through this, there'll be statements that will come to mind. Are there any others that are coming up for you that you feel like you need to say? Anybody else that you feel like you need to forgive or need to give yourself permission to forgive yourself for? Or
No, because every time I thought of one, a few seconds later, you would say it. So we're on the same wavelength.
okay. All right, let's check here. If you would think about just that original statement of, I can easily and effortlessly have a healthy relationship with myself when it comes to food. Think about that, and that's staying strong. And see, distress went from a 6 to distress went from a 6 to a 1,
Nice.
and elation went from a 2 to a 10.
Yay.
And as far as stage of healing, went from 4 to 7.
Cool.
I'm just curious, would I don't have your email address, but if you want to send me that, I can type up like sort of like a summary of what we went over if you want that.
I would love that. I'll message you my email.
Okay, awesome. How do you feel?
Pretty good. I'm actually like sore, like physically, like I had a few like muscle like places that I usually carry like tension and stress have
Hmm.
flared a little bit. They're kind of sore.
Okay,
So that's interesting. Feel pretty good.
good. Well, so I know you said you're working from home today. Just some suggestions that I usually give clients, especially if you're feeling something physical. Like if you can just be kind
Hmm.
to yourself today, like if like hot bath and some Epsom salt or something like that, you feel like will help release some of that physical tension or stretching, or you want to make sure you drink plenty of water.
Lots of water.
Okay.
Cool. Charles.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to work with you. I appreciate it.
That's great.